Welcome back, trainers, and in this video we're going to be going over the abundance of different Pokemon that we do have of one variant. So we're talking Costume, Shadow, Dynamax, Gigantamax, as well as Megas. Okay, we have all these things on the table here. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Big shout out to Pogo Central here for putting out this chart. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it here, as we are going to be getting seeming the end of the line with Dynamax. So we start out with the debut. Then we go into the shiny debut, then we go into the community debut, then we go into the exclusive move. It does have Surf. This can be applied to any Pokemon. Then the shadow debut, then the shiny shadow debut. Then we have the costume debut. Then you have the costume evolution debut. Then the shiny costume debut. And then the signature move, which is Volt Tackle, hasn't received that yet, but there are particular Pokemon that have received this here. So as you can see from this simple chart here, how many times they have reintroduced a particular Pokemon. And not only that, it's kind of putting you behind and making you and forcing you to use particular resources to combat these things. Then you have the signature move. We already went over that. Then the research day. Okay, no problem. Then we have the Dynamax and then the Gigantamax. Now, all of this is seemingly fine on the surface, I suppose, but when we start getting into the Dynamax and the Gigantamax, and this is where we start to see a little bit of an issue here. Now, this is not necessarily applying to the Pikachu, but you can just put this in the Charizard or Venusaur category, Blastoise, right? And you already know exactly where we're going to go with this. So what we're going to do here is take a look at some of my costume Pokemon, a lot of them, pretty much all of them, and a few things to talk about while we take a look at this new secret spot I found, which I have to say is one of the most beautiful places I've been in a long time here in Anchorage. I have not been down here. This is one place I have not been. My friend did show me, my cousin showed me this place, and we're going to be checking it out. All right, so we have the 100% costume Bulbasaur, then we have the shiny Bulbasaur. Now, I understand there's collectors out there, and they do not mind doing all this stuff, and to each their own. But then we get these shadows, and a lot of times you're going to have to use an Elite TM, but you don't have to. You could wait till a Community Day rolls around. If you're lucky enough to remove frustration from these shadow Pokemon during a Rocket event, then you can evolve it and get it for free. But the problem is where we get the Dynamax Pokemon. I was getting all excited with my 100% Venusaur and all the candies that I did have completely maxed out, best buddy, but here we go, and they are forcing you to actually collect them again and power them up yet again. Now that within itself is a little bit of an issue. Where the big problem lies though is going to be when they start to release these Gigantamax Pokemon, and they are going to make you do it all over again. Now if we were able to Gigantamax or Dynamax Pokemon, this would not really be too much of an issue. But since they're forcing us to do so we can continuously get these stronger Pokemon to pursue these exclusive Pokemon, then that's where resources start going really quickly down the drain in a big and bad way. And not everybody has got the time, money, or energy to continuously invest in Pokemon that are going to be just seeing a whole new revamp and making their other ones not necessarily useless, but kind of excluding them from particular things like, I don't know, Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing. It's a big problem. And what are they going to do in the future? Are they going to start releasing costume Gigantamax and Dynamax Pokemon so we can do it all over again and power those up? See where we're heading with this thing here? It's kind of crazy. Now, I've always said to you that you don't want to be too hasty to power up Pokemon, or whatever the case may be, essentially just power them up. You want to wait for their community day. One thing that you can do to kind of alleviate a little bit of this, as well as if you're a little impatient like myself, sometimes you just want to evolve something and use it because they could certainly have a lot of usability, and that is going to be if you do receive 100, they haven't received their community day yet, or a 98, you can go ahead and power that up, and if you have no problem using an Elite Charge TM, once they receive their community day or elite quick TM, then you can always go down that route, and I have definitely advocated for that. But the problem that I have personally is the latest introduction to Pokemon Go, which is going to be the Dynamax and Gigantamax. I know I've voiced myself quite a bit about this, but it is seeming to be extremely frustrating, and almost like as if a fan who really despised Pokemon Go read out the story on how it will play out, and it essentially just told us, okay, so before we knew all the Dynamax and Gigantamax information. And they told us, all right, so how they're going to release it, if they can be like a, I don't know, they could travel in the future and past. And they came back and they told us, all right, I'm going to tell you how they're going to release Gigantamax and Dynamax. You're going to have to catch the Dynamax all over again, power up a whole new Pokemon, and then use those to go up against the Dynamax and Gigantamax. When the Gigantamax comes out, you're going to have to defeat those after you've powered up the semi-useless Dynamax Pokemon that you're essentially going to throw away once you have a whole Gigantamax team. And then once you catch these Gigantamax Pokemon, you're going to have to power them up all over again. We're talking millions in Stardust here. Okay, right away. So that's the issue that I have. When it comes down to collecting, it's no big deal. I mean, I get it. People like to collect, and I personally have way too many costume Pokemon that I personally want to admit. Well, you're going to see them all right here. That was a pretty nice 98 shiny costume Raichu right there. I'm just so close to getting so many Shundo costume Pokemon. It's a shame, but that's okay. I've got one that you're going to see. Actually, I think we already saw it was that Blastoise. But yeah, that's where we're at here. So I do have this. Oh wait, I got it. Well, it's not shiny. It's not a Shundo, but it is 100 Gengar. I already powered up my other one, so we're just going to go with this. So at the end of the day, what you're going to probably want to do is look up as much information as you can as to which Pokemon you should be powering up or not, if people are putting that out. It's kind of self-explanatory, but at the end of the day, we don't really know what Niantic is going to do. But I do believe it is going to be safe to say this Gigantamax is seemingly going to be one of the end-of-the-line end-game things here. We're not talking, oh, you know, one of the last gimmicks they're going to introduce, because that's not going to happen. They're going to keep on introducing every gimmick that's been put into the main series games. So we're looking at Terra Pokemon next. Are we going to have to make a whole new Pokemon for the Terra Pokemon? And I have not been completely immersive in that. I don't know exactly how that all works. I do know that they changed their types. I know that I have the internet at my fingertips. I can go look it up. But just think about it. We still have another feature for them to release. Are we going to have to actually power those up all over again too? Now, although I am excited for Gigantamax, I'm a little pissed off that we're going to have to be powering them up all over again. And not only that, these things are going to be pretty difficult for the people who don't have too many people, and you're going to be able to barely do that, not too many in this short amount of time, 35 hours or so. Then if you're screwed, you don't have a good one, you're going to be stuck with that. But for the people in the city, they can hit every single one around there and potentially find themselves a good one. Pretty crazy little hut that we found here, right? So at the end of the day, the moral of the story is just don't be powering up a whole bunch of stuff at random, okay? Take your time. Understand what's going on here. I know a lot of things get exciting. I personally am a little hasty because I have a channel and I need to bring your content to you. So just make sure you have notifications on and I'll keep you up to date. Folks, if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching and take care.